The crisis at our southern border exploding under President Biden's watch. And now, new outrage over this stunning video. It shows armed Border Patrol agents, under the direction of the Biden administration, of course, opening a barbed wire gate that had been locked by the Texas National Guard. Dozens of migrants then walked right through that barrier. Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott just sent more busloads of migrants to New York City, where Mayor Eric Adams is now urgently looking for some 6,000 hotel rooms to house them. On top of all of this, we have just learned that the number of migrant encounters broke another record, exceeding 2 million for this fiscal year. Kayleigh, that amount is extraordinary.
It is extraordinary. That video is extraordinary. We're not building walls now. We're tearing them down and just saying, come on in, guys. 2 million illegal immigrants, more than the population of Manhattan. Wow. I do want to say this is not the fault of Border Patrol, who does awesome work, and we should thank them for their work every day. This is the fault of the Biden administration. By federal law, these Border Patrol agents are now required to allow the illegal immigrants to come in, to process them here on U.S. soil, because President Biden, the commander-in-chief, rolled back remain in Mexico. So if you don't like what you're seeing, not Border Patrol, it's the commander-in-chief. But 56 illegal immigrants on the terror watch list since last October, 13,000 pounds of fentanyl killing Americans since Biden took office, enough to kill every American in this country, probably multiple times over. You can thank the commander-in-chief, while I thank Border Patrol for doing their job in an impossible environment.
That's right. We always do. And Harris, we've talked about how the mayor of D.C., after having 4,000 illegal migrants, called it a crisis and requested the National Guard come in, which the federal government denied. And now those thousands are being shipped everywhere, to the tune of 2 million total.
Yeah, let's just rest on that 2 million number for just a second. 2 million illegal immigrants breaking the sovereignty at the border are more than we have in all of our jails and prisons in the United States.
Jeez.
2 million illegal immigrants, not including the gotaways, because that's 800,000, 900,000 more that we don't know where they are. 2 million is more than the populations of the states of New Mexico or Nebraska. That's a lot of people. There are a lot of Americans, citizens, who are here legally as immigrants. And they contribute every day and make us a better country. I live part of the year in Arizona. I'm going home on the weekend. I hear this from people in that border state. But Harris, we're here legally. Why does everybody else get to cheat? Why does everybody else get to bring in elements that are not vetted so we don't know who's among us? Why did they get to do it the wrong way? Why? Because of this administration. But look, neither politics want this to be solved. Republicans have been in majority, Democrats have. We have got to get on the same page about this. But right now what's broken is that everything that had been working under Trump, Biden came in and flipped the switch. And now the switch has given us 2 million illegal immigrants. Just get your mind around that.
Jimmy, it's sort of hard. It's really hard, actually, to get your mind around that, because it's so astronomically huge. And, you know, the optics of that door opening, we know that President Biden doesn't care about us. We know that already. He doesn't care about Americans. But what that open door symbolized to me is it just underscores he doesn't care about the migrants either, because his compassion is cruel. Because what that open door means, swinging opens, it's a feeding frenzy for the cartels. It's a feeding frenzy for the astronomical drug, fentanyl, smuggling, the human smuggling, the sexual assaults and rapes, the terrible things that go down along that journey, the precarious journey here. That is what this president does not care about.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting that they have the indifference they do to a legitimate humanitarian crisis. We all have empathy for people who want to migrate here because they're fleeing real cartel violence, food insecurity, you know, bad, corrupt governments. Sadly, they wind up in blue cities where that's the same deal. But I mean, really, Joe Biden has turned our country into the college bar that doesn't check ID. Do you remember when you were in college and you found out, oh, the one bar's letting 18-year-olds in, everybody just started showing up? That's what these videos are. They were a recruitment ad to people to try to come in illegally. And one of the reasons they're hemorrhaging support with Latino voters is they don't want to live in a country that resembles the one they fled. But when you tack on fentanyl, which is what we were discussing earlier, that's when this stops being a Texas problem and starts being everybody's problem. It is the leading cause of death for people between the ages of 18 and 45. And because this is a political liability to the Democratic Party, they're more worried about the politics than the people. So people are just dying right now. And the whole country should be losing their mind. And we're not even touching this. And it's disgusting.
It's another win for China, because that's who's producing the most fentanyl in the world.
Dude, you're in a bad spot when I'm the voice of reason in this country. I'm just telling you.
I want to go that far. And the fact that that's why we keep maintaining every state is a border state. That's why dozens of states signed on to the lawsuit begging the federal government, demanding that the federal government actually do something. Lisa, the Texas governor, as well weighed in. He tweeted about the federal government. He said, unbelievable. This is in response to that video we just showed you. While Texas secures the border, the federal government is enabling illegal immigration. Biden's open border policies caused this crisis. The federal government must do its job and fix it. Lisa, I'm not holding my breath, though.
Look, I could solve this problem in like 5 minutes, right? Like, secure the border, let the Border Patrol do their job, go back to remain in Mexico, build a wall, close a couple loopholes, and change the asylum laws. Boom. Problem solved. America, you're welcome. It's not that complicated, yet everyone's trying to overcomplicate this. But look, I love what Governor Abbott is doing in sending these illegal immigrants to New York City and these sanctuary cities. If you're so virtuous, then eat your virtue signaling words, right? Send them, embrace them, take them in, show us how virtuous you are, show us how good and moral you are in your moral high ground. You should be welcoming them with open
sanctuary
arms.
cities.
I know.
Do you remember?
By definition.
Here, you'll remember this. Do you remember when liberals were sitting there, and Kayleigh for sure remembers this, when like Jim Acosta and all these liberals were lecturing, remember what the Statue of Liberty says? Bring, what is it, take in your huddled masses, you're poor, you're tired, whatever. And then now they're like, now that they're showing up in their own home and it's an issue for them, they're like, oh, this is just really bad. We can't handle this.
Well,
send them to Jim's
9
building.
million people can't handle
Send them to Jim's home, his apartment complex. We'll see how he likes
there you
it.
go.
Well,
another problem solved. You're welcome.
To their credit, the economy is such a mess under Biden. The Statue of Liberty now says this space for rent.
Oh,
so
God.
they didn't know.
Ouch.